Welcome to the Build Series live here in New York City. I'm your host, Kevin Kenny, and just as a forewarning, you might want to turn your volume down on whatever device you are watching right now. It's going to get very loud in here. 30 years ago, when these guys were just fooling around on the Mickey Mouse Club, our guests today were taking over the world. 3 decades and 80 million records sold later. They are back today with the 30th anniversary edition of their iconic album, Hangin' Tough. How loud can we get it for New Kids on the Block? New Kids on the Block, everybody. How are your ears doing?
We love that. Is the greatest sound in the history of life right there. That screaming. Listen, keep doing what you're doing. You'll get it one day. And you'll love it.
Until then, I'll mooch off you guys right now. How about that?
Totally. Look at your shirt, man. You get look at that. Screams right there, baby.
There you go. It's boy band.
In sync, baby. We love it.
Well, you know what's funny? It's like, you know, I wasn't around when Hangin' Tough was out, but I remember, you know, I quickly learned about you guys.
You weren't around when In Sync was out.
Let's just be honest, right?
Yeah.
But you guys, I was thinking about this, like the modern definition of the boy band, you guys really started, I'd say.
Not really.
Why?
Okay, here's why. First of all, they didn't use that term when we were around.
What were you guys thought
it came with NSYNC and Backstreet Boys.
Right.
They were really, the term came from England for Take That and a lot of the groups over there, Westlife and East 17 and those kind of groups. And that saying translated over to the U.S. with NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. But we came after New Edition. And New Edition was really our sort of like inspiration, and they were the ones that came before us and paved the way for us. So for us, they're really the real blueprint of the modern day boy band. Now, when we came out and were so successful, literally a guy who ended up working with NSYNC and Backstreet Boys got the idea to do those groups from having come across us. That said, you know, all these groups have found their own way in their own way, but I think it's unfair for us to say we're the blueprint. I know what you're saying, and a lot of people do say it. It's not wrong, but maybe we were an inspiration for NSYNC or 98 Degrees or somebody like that. But I think New Edition is really the ones who deserve the credit for the modern day boy band craze.
Yeah, please round of applause. Donnie, I didn't know you were such like a boy band historian there.
I love boy bands. I love them.
E17? What the hell is that?
Love boy bands, baby.
No, but you guys are really cool. You pay homage to them in Boys in the Band, this single that is just like doing, I mean, it sounds so good. Because I think when a band, you know, that has had success in the past, they come out with a new song, you're always a little like, okay, what's it sound like? Should they have done this? This is incredible, guys. I mean, the beat, let's get to the beat, because KG did the beat, right? Yeah. Okay, and
Naughty by nature.
Of course. And I remember you saying recently that you heard it and you're almost like, this is like a little Yachty beat. But you wanted to hop on it. What made you just fall in love with it, Donnie?
I didn't really think of Little Yachty. I said I love this track, and KG and his partner Tramp were like, you know, they were skimming through tracks and they were like playing a snippet of this one, and one became 80s Baby, and one became The Way. Shout out. But when I heard this particular track, I was like, I love that. Yeah. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I love that. And they were like, we were kind of hoping we could get this to like Little Yachty. Yeah. And I was like, no, that's for us. And so literally, yeah. Who's Little Yachty? Not to be confused with Little Uzi, but anyway.
I mean, I know it's our song, but when I first heard this song, I felt the same way. I mean, I was just super passionate, and I called Donnie, and I was like, because it's hard, it's complicated to make something simple, a simple pop tune, but it's got heart, it's got swagger, but and the best thing is that we get to, with an open heart, pay homage to where we came from and having the best fans in the world. You know, it's all about the celebration that we get to do, you know, and we've been doing it for 30 years, so it's crazy.
And a lot of it, though, is you're embracing where you're at in your career right now. You're not trying to be something you used to be. You're not trying to be something you might be in the future. It's really New Kids in 2019 is sort of what it sounds like, both lyrically and sonically.
For sure. If this song, we probably couldn't have made this song in 1988 because in many ways, I know for me personally, I was trying to prove that I was more than just a guy in a boy band, because that sort of moniker of being in the singing group, you know, with a producer, you know, meant that you didn't have any talent. Now, you know, with the maturity and growth and appreciation that we've all, us and these fans have all stuck together for all these years, I'm so honored to be part of a boy band and part of the culture of boy bands. And so now it's easier to write a song that celebrates that. I guess that comes with maturity and growth and appreciation. But I don't think this song could have ever happened any time before now, and I don't think it would probably have the impact that it's having now. It just feels like it was the perfect time for it.
Millions of views on YouTube. I mean, like this is serious business, guys. Congratulations. And you guys seem to know the words. Can we get like the hook really quick? Because this was incredible. Can we kick this off?
The dream.
Yeah.
The dream in the studio was that the audience would sing "We Like the Boys." So to hear that, it's like, oh my God.
We.
That is amazing.
Mixtape tour.
After a couple of drinks on the road, that's going to sound a lot more exciting.
Let's get nostalgic for just a few moments here. Taking back 30 years ago, do you remember your first impressions of one another? And please feel free if anybody has memories.
Well, that was even way before 30 years ago.
Well, right, I should say that, right? 30 years when this came out, about 35.
Wow.
These guys went to school together.
John
First
watched
grade.
Jordan come out on the day of his birth. He was like, yeah, good-looking kid. Sorry.
I have to jog memories because I didn't grow up with these guys until I was 12, but they grew up, and I love hearing the stories. And one of the stories, because you tell about Donnie on the bus, like and how that.
No, I always say Donnie was the same person then as he is now. Like we all know Donnie as like how many people have been on the cruise or at a show. Donnie's the ringleader. He gets everybody going, right? On the school bus, like we're elementary school, folks. Elementary school. Packed full on the bus, right? We were on the same school bus. Every day he sat in the back and he would bring up songs and he would get the whole bus to sing songs from the start of the bus ride all the way to school and from school all the way home. So he has not changed. He would sit on the back of the bus and just get everybody to sing songs. And it has not changed in all these years.
Mostly Macho Man by the Village People.
And that was one of them. Yeah, that was one of them.
I remember when I met John, ironically, John, it's such a small world. Like, we really have known each other, but forever. But John, my brother Bob was in the second grade, and I was in the first grade. And my older brother Bob came up to me in the playground. I don't even know if you remember this, but he goes, I want you to meet my best friend, John. And it was John Knight. And, a couple years later, John and I ended up in a class together in the sixth grade in another school. And every day we had reading class before lunch. And we both sort of hung out with this girl who was my brother Bob's ex-girlfriend, ironically. Yeah.
It's news to John.
And this is a true story. We would leave reading class on our lunch break, and we would go to the girls' room with her and smoke cigarettes. We didn't know what we were doing. And then we'd go outside and just hang out and skip lunch. We were bad. We were bad. Do you remember that? Thea Richardson, yeah.
John's like, thanks for bringing it up, buddy. Joe, you're talking about being 12 years old when you joined the band. Your son is in the video, is this right?
Yeah, that's Griff up in the front doing the Griff dance and spinning and turning. And he's actually come up on stage with us since he was, I think, 3 years old. And, he loves these guys. And I'm getting emotional, actually. He really... it's family. I mean, all of our families out there. I mean, his Donnie's son Elijah's playing the drums when we can get him up there. Everybody's just, it's a different experience, and but he loves what we do, but he loves the camaraderie too. I mean, the best part about it is the stories and just hanging out too.
Totally. Hey, and congratulations on Waitress.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah. Thank you. It's good. We just took a picture of in front of the billboard and in Times Square, and it's been a long day, and I'm getting emotional now. I want to get emotional, but it's very cool. I mean, it says New Kids on the Block's Joey McIntyre, and it's it's I'm tired. But you know, I'm you know, again, this is all about the experience of staying together, maturity, and it sounds corny, but to me, it's like that's as important as saying Academy Award winner Joey McIntyre or Tony Award. But it's you know, it's and it's nice to get there because there are times in life where you want to go out on your own and you want to do different things and you want to stand out on your own, and to have that balance to be able to do what you do on your own and also share this experience together is I mean, it's the best of both worlds.
I know John saw it like what, second night, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was bamboozled. I thought I bought tickets to open tonight, and then they pushed it up.
They added. I'm sorry,
But
I tried to fight back.
but I mean, it was okay. It was just yeah.
Not the show, right?
Yeah, what?
It sounded like he was saying the show was
You
just
sounded like
okay.
the show was just okay.
No. The
No.
show was amazing. It was amazing. You guys, anybody seen it? It was real good.
Well, Build is amazing with the research they can do here. We actually found Joey's audition tape
my
for
God.
Waitress. Yeah, this is incredible.
I was like, what?
What was this? I Love You Came Too Late? Yeah.
This is very Waitress-esque, Joey.
Look at that's true. Look at those acting chops. Ugh. We're right there with you, Joe, every minute. I
no
remember
one's made that connection yet?
What's that?
No one's made that connection yet? I saw the Waitress poster. I was like,
Yeah,
dude,
you're
I
like,
know this
done.
music video.
Yes. No, maybe that's why they had me in.
What were you going to say, though? You sound like you had a story.
Well, there was one thing. I go back in the kitchen in this video, and I start moving pans around, and apparently I took a hot pan off a stove, and it didn't hurt my hands. I turned into a superhuman person in that moment, and I was reminded that you should have acted like it was hot. You know, nobody's perfect.
You guys are heading out on a 53-city tour called the Mixtape Tour this year. Round of applause. Yeah, please. You guys are being so polite. Please. Whose idea was 53 cities? I mean, my God.
Isn't it 55?
Is it 55 now?
55 shows, 53 cities.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
53.
In
Sorry,
62
sorry.
days.
You're
Wow.
yeah.
0 days off.
Well,
How do you train for something like that? Like you must have to prepare physically, right?
not really.
30 years.
Yeah.
30 years. Yeah, I don't know.
Gotta get your naps in. You gotta take care of yourself. Yeah, I mean it's its own grind, but you know we do it. It's someone's snapping. We have
I don't know.
our team. Our people are snapping at people.
Danny, do you need to go? Danny's going to go to the restroom.
No, Danny's got a call. He's got a call, and he's got to do a remix to one of our songs.
We're
He'll
gonna
be
make
right
music
back.
in the back after
Yeah.
this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, it's really cool. The concept, really, mixtapes. You know, before everyone talks about playlists now. It's funny, you know, everyone thinks everything's new.
that?
Well, right, yeah, exactly. I think that's where Lil Uzi and Yachty might be. But mixtapes, I mean, that's really where this whole playlist culture came from. And you guys have quite the mixtape on tour. It's you guys, Salt-N-Pepa, Naughty by Nature, Debbie Gibson, and then Tiffany. They know better than I do. My job. How did this all come about? Because that's a loaded lineup. I mean, that's like a...
It's, you know, we kind of, every time we go out, we kind of go back to the drawing board of what to do next to make it fun and interesting for the fans and for us. You know, obviously the fans want to hear the hits and we want to play the hits for them, but we try to come up with new wrinkles to make it not just the same old thing. Maybe when we hit our 60s and 70s, we might just keep it very simple. But for now, you know, we still want to try and mix it up and surprise the audience. And they work really hard to be able to go to these shows and to be able to afford to buy tickets to any concert, right? Well, I have 12. Don't guilt me. But you know, there's such a part of what we do that we really feel not out of obligation, but we owe it to them to make a great tour every time we go out, to give them something new and fun and exciting. And we listen to them. A lot of what we do is influenced by their feedback. So they may not know it, but I'll just be, you know, quietly lurking on Twitter and just, they may make a comment about a certain song or I want to see this, and I might just send them a little wink or something back. But I'm making mental notes, and we make mental notes and take feedback. And this particular tour, we've just talked about working with some of these artists for so long. Salt-N-Pepa has been someone we've wanted to team up with. And Tiffany is someone who gave us our big break, really, if you think about it. And so it just, Naughty by Nature, friends of ours, KG was working on music with us. It just all sort of made sense for this particular lineup. And when we tested it out with the fans, the feedback was just really more than we could ever expect. It's like our biggest tour since we were kids. I mean, even our reunion tour, this is like surpassing that. It's just going like through the roof, and people are really excited. And I think as we get older, like we talked about earlier, we understand more and more how to, bring ourselves out and be comfortable enough and free enough to really bring out our personalities and give it to the fans every night. Maybe 10 years ago we had fun, but we take ourselves a little more seriously. And I think that's we still take it seriously, but we don't take ourselves that serious. And I think it's one of the things that ingratiates the fans to us and us to them, is the camaraderie we have. And they want to see us, mess up. They want to see guys goofing up the steps and, being human.
Yeah.
We're not superhuman, and I think that's one of the things we relate to our fans with. So it's going to be a special tour. I sure hope so.
And I think something that's going to shine through for the fans, I'm sure you guys agree, is you guys have known these tourmates for so long. You talk about, Tiffany giving your first big break. Naughty by Nature, you guys have known for a while too. Joey, I heard wild stories about you, Naughty by Nature, and then Mark just having a party in London, maybe? What is this? Can you
digging it up?
Yeah,
Digging it up.
at the time, it might have been illegal. Now, in some states, it isn't. And it was years ago, and it was. I think we might have, Tretch and Mark and I might have shared something, but that's as far. You do the math.
Puff, puff, pass.
I like
But
Jordan.
it wasn't. That was the end of it.
Me and Jordan were at that party, but we weren't doing that. We were dancing with Salt-N-Pepa across the.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I didn't inhale.
Yeah.
Talk to me about just the camaraderie of the group of people you're hitting the road with. And what I'm trying to get at here is Rolling Stone wrote an article recently, a really cool feature about there's the nostalgia in popular music these days. Today's pop stars writing about the 90s or the 80s. And I think they were talking to Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray, and he was talking about, there isn't a camaraderie around decades anymore. Mark was talking about, he really feels like he's part of the 90s or, the 80s. It was a time. Do you guys feel a camaraderie to the tourmates, like, from that era? I mean, you talk about working with KG almost exclusively now on the music. Is there something to that?
No, I don't think with the music. I think it's just the vibe was there. But in terms of camaraderie, I get what Mark McGrath's saying. I think for us, certainly we feel a camaraderie for our era, but you root for people. You root for people from your era. You root for people who do similar things. Like we root for other boy bands. Their success is our success. So, even Tiffany, it's like, Tiffany gave us our break, to see her come on stage with us now and like tear the house down. Like she came out at the Apollo Theater and it was mania. It's a rewarding thing. So I don't know in terms of the decades of it all, but certainly we root for people of our era. And that's part of what we do. We team up with, Boyz II Men and Backstreet Boys and all these different groups. Like we want to see other bands succeed. And sometimes there's success in numbers for us. So, I mean, that's a big part of what we do is sharing and spreading the wealth of excitement and fandom and putting all these artists where they belong on stage, singing these amazing songs in front of amazing fans.
Right. You talk about rooting for boy bands. What do you guys make of just this K-pop pandemonium, if you want to call it that?
A lot of members, man.
Yeah.
I was saying that
That is a
yesterday.
lot of-
I pulled up that T-shirt. There
I
was
think
7 of them.
it is interesting. I mean, to see how that works. I mean, I'd like to see some I'm sure there's tons of behind the scenes stuff, but how these groups are, a lot of them are made. There's 13 members.
Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
there one there like people get voted into members and stuff
Probably.
like that? But I think the one right now is
BTS, who you guys
BTS.
shout out
right
in the song.
right, of course. And I think first of all, it's great to see that they have such a following, and their fans are so thrilled that they're finally touring, and And yeah, it's another world. I mean, it's crazy.
No, I said yesterday when I pulled up the 7, I said, imagine splitting royalties 7 ways or 13 ways and paying for 13 buses on a tour. Like, how are they making money? It's crazy.
There's only 12 bunks on a bus.
So
Right,
they're probably
right.
all on the same bus,
Yeah.
and then one dude's running behind.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
tonight's your night. You gotta run.
But that's something you root for, you know, like to see a K-pop band break through in the U.S. like BTS has. It's awesome. And like our fans' kids are fans of theirs. And so it's like there's this whole thing now where we mention them in the song, and like so many of our fans are like, oh, my daughter's going crazy that you mentioned BTS. It's like it's really fun. And I think that's another thing about boy bands is generational. You know, every generation, the lyric in the song, you know, why does every generation have another one if it isn't love? You know, everyone loves boy bands, and if they didn't, there wouldn't be one every generation. You know what I mean? All directions lead to one. It's boy bands.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
Let's get to a Twitter question really quick. This comes from @the_Jenny_Murphy. Hey, New Kids on the Block, your new song. Are they here? Is this you? Who's here?
Okay, great. I'm like
This
the
is a
shyest
great
person
moment
here.
for you, Jenny Murphy.
Public speaking's not really my thing. That's why I tweeted it. Okay. Hey, New Kids on the Block. Your new song, Boys in the Band, is an amazing tribute to boy bands past and present. What is it about boy bands that transcend generations?
I think I mean, I think it's the that every generation has their own, and I think it's fun to, you know, connect the dots and connect the generations, and it's a cool way to, you know, I know a lot of our fans are like, well, the way you feel about that band is the way I feel about, you know, New Kids and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's just fun. It's just fun to bring it all together the way the song does.
All right. Thank you, Jenny. I'm going to cut across stage right now.
That's what I felt about the village people.
All right, now for more studio audience questions on Bill today, let's get to the back. Where's the first question going to come from? Yeah? What's your name and where are you from?
My name's Isabella, and I'm from Manhattan, New York.
Wow. And you've been a fan since 1989?
No. Like, what's your favorite boy band besides yourself?
I was digging One Direction for a while, and I was actually kind of sad when they broke up. I think One Direction.
When I was a kid, the groups, would the Beatles be considered a boy band? Maybe, or the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
I would say one.
Definitely.
Either one of those.
New Edition has a very special place in my heart, and I know everybody's heart. So they're like in a category of their own. And then love One Direction's their last album was great, but I've always been partial to NSYNC because I think well, I'm friends with some of them, and they've always had a great sense of humor. They're funny. They're talented, but they're my kind of funny. So I go with NSYNC. So nice T-shirt.
New Edition, baby.
Nice.
All the way. All the way.
I love it. Let's get to a couple more really quick. Second one will come from over here.
Hi, guys. I'm Jess. I'd like to know what your first concert was and what impact it had on your life.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I've always said this, so it must be back there somewhere, but I'm 99% sure I went to go see the Gap Band. And it was like, I think like,
I'm jealous.
That funk.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. That funk.
Yeah, and it was just an extra ticket, and I was never like a big Gap Band person, but I came out of that concert and was like, burn rubber on me, baby. You know?
Yes, John.
Yeah.
Yes, early in the morning.
Yes.
You dropped a bomb on me.
Yes.
Yes.
Outstanding. I love those that greatest hits.
I know. Oh, go ahead.
Where'd you go?
My first concert was in 1985. This is a fact. At the Lee School Auditorium with 4 guys, and we were called Nanook. That's the first concert I went to was ours. There was about 47 people in the audience, including my mom and my sister and Jordan's sisters, I think, were there, and Danny's parents, and just some kids. The first official concert, we must have went together. It would be
We saw. I remember we went to Grandmaster Flash.
Grandmaster
the
Flash.
Furious Five.
Roger Troutman.
Roger Troutman.
I don't know if that was first. In
He was
Zap.
amazing. Holy moly.
Stevie Wonder, but it could have been New Edition. I don't know. Maurice took us to see New Edition.
Worcester.
New
right?
edition, but we were way up high and we snuck in the back
Yes.
door and like looked behind the stage, and I still remember that. They were like
Remember
this
that,
big.
yeah.
Yeah. It could have been New Edition and
Maybe.
Bobby Brown, but I feel like we went to concerts before that. We're gonna go with Zap for the win.
Yeah.
Zap.
Roger Troutman and
Zap.
Zap.
My one
amazing.
was Cyndi Lauper. Outside, they used to do concerts on the Common in Boston Common, and I saw Cyndi Lauper. She was awesome.
We did that one time, remember? Mm-hmm. Gloria Estefan.
Estefan.
Gloria Estefan was at the Boston Common, and she was, doing a show, and I guess her opening act, I don't know, didn't make it or something, and we got the call.
We were playing basketball in Danny's backyard, and they said, "Do you guys want to open?"
Yeah.
And I think we opened in what we were wearing.
Yeah.
We had basketball jerseys.
It was rough, yeah.
It was crazy. That's a good question, though, is the list some of the artists we have opened for. I mean, we opened for the Four Tops. We opened for Lisa and Cult Jam. We opened for Stetsasonic. Shout out Stetsasonic. You don't even know about Stetsasonic. What? We opened for De La Soul at the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus. We opened for Gloria Estefan, Jermaine Stewart. We don't have to take our clothes off. I mean, we opened for so many people.
That was a big night. That was a big night.
It's crazy the amount of people we opened for. It's just crazy. The legends that we've performed in front of and got to learn from and watch.
It's amazing. Let's get to one final studio audience question. It'll come from over here. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Michelle. I live in Charleston, South Carolina.
Hey.
So thank you guys for being the soundtrack of my life for the last 30 plus years. My question is, we all know the Subway album cover is iconic, but was there any other ideas back in the day for a possible album cover that you can remember?
I don't really think we were throwing out ideas
Whoa.
back then.
We
I think
like,
they were
"Whoa,
like,
we got
"You're
a
going
photo
to a
shoot."
Subway.
Yeah. So excited about it.
But that was cool because that was actually in a
Museum.
a museum, a
It's in
train station.
Brooklyn, I think.
It's
right?
still there?
Yeah. It's the Subway Museum, like the Mass Transit Museum.
It was
Yeah.
really perfect, actually, really perfect, because that was our life. Like we were on the subways. We were like subway rats, basically, when we were younger, and it just really fit who we were. I'm personally, I think we all love that cover.
Yeah.
We all.
Although it does say Coney Island, so everyone thought we
The
were
New
from
York
New
thing.
York.
Yeah. We
They
had
didn't
probably
have
had.
Photoshop back then. They couldn't change it.
Awesome.
I know we all have great memories, but I remember, I remember the feeling and the energy that we had, that day, and I guess it was good enough to last 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years. Congratulations again, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Tickets are available for the mixtape tour right now. And, of course, today, Hangin' Tough, the reissue, is out and available everywhere. One final time for New Kids on the Block.